Mr. and Mrs. Novogretzky, we heard about it, and we looked at it, and she said, as is, just as is. So we looked over and we thought, well, we'll work on, different things. So what we did, the one room was calla lilies, paper, wallpaper.
Calla lily.
Calla lily.
Big flowers.
Calla lily. Oh. The bathroom, the linoleum was all chips and up and torn and, But you couldn't find an apartment, really. It was hard. So my dad...
How much was it?
At that time, we picked up a piece of
$40.
Congolian.
Well, that's a lot.
Congolian.
I haven't heard that word in a
It
long
was
time.
beautiful,
Congolian?
Jim. And we brought it up. Mr. Novogretzky was sleeping. And we got by him because we had to go up steps.
He didn't want
and
us
he
to do
laid
a thing
underneath.
to it.
He didn't want us to touch a thing. He said, don't touch a thing in that apartment. It's as if, okay. So my dad, we picked up a piece of Congolian, brought it in from here to the rocking chair, and we laid it. We cut, my dad cut, formed it beautiful. When Mrs. Novogretzky came up to see me at Easter,
I was waiting for her to give us an
she was a very heavy lady, and she got up the stairs, and what she said to us was, I think I've died and gone to heaven. It's so beautiful.
Oh,
And she was about
isn't that
300
amazing?
pounds. And I said,
And so what the husband say?
well, he was nice.
Okay, so
But he said,
she
and
kind
I
of told
said
him.
to her, we
It's
told
gorgeous.
you we wouldn't hurt it,
Yeah.
We just wanted, she said, it's beautiful. See?
Yeah.
Did you paint over the
How
calla
you renters
lilies?
We
get
let
like
that be.
The upgrade,
We
you
let
know?
We lived with that.
Yeah.
I
Because
think
that
we,
was a
They were
job.
lucky to have them for
well,
renters.
how long were we in now? We weren't that long, only a few months, or was it a year?
Maybe a couple years. Yeah, a couple years, 3 years.
And you lived up above them, like in an
Yeah,
apartment.
it was a two-story, house.
Yeah.
The stairway went right over where he slept. So if we got home late at night, we'd have to walk on our tiptoes to get
Yeah.
up to our apartment because we
Yeah.
didn't want to wake him.
And then it made a bend, remember? It
Yeah,
made
yeah,
a
there was
bend,
an elbow in there.
and I was pregnant, and I tripped on a carpet, and I went down.
Oh.
Now, when you go up to, you got a window, and then you go 4 more steps,
Yeah.
and I tripped on a piece of carpet down.
Oh.
But, I said, then I had a miscarriage, but I mean, it wasn't to be anyway. But I can
Yeah.
remember he felt so bad.
He did?
He felt very bad. Yeah, they were very,
Yeah.
they ended up being
Was it
very good
that?
to
Was
us.
that the same apartment that we were in? That
The coat hanger?
no, a bottle of milk or something.
Oh, yeah.
Went down the stairs, and I was thinking, but there was rugs on the stairs. But as soon as it hit the bottom, it went blang.
It made it down all the stairs.
Yeah, all the stairs.
But it hit the bottom
It
of the
hit the what do you call it? The part of it.
The landing.
Yeah, and it was that had some
Tile or
hard
something?
stuff in it.
He was a junk dealer.
Yeah.
Mr. Novogretzky was a junk dealer. And he had junk in his backyard, like old toilets, bathtub, chairs. But he made a living.
Yeah.
And they drove a brand new, what was it?
Lincoln.
A Lincoln Continental.
Wow.
And every Sunday they go out and they drive maybe 2 blocks, 3 blocks, just to move the car. But he said to me one day, would you pick up my mail? He couldn't read.
Yeah, he'd have to bring all
I
his
would
mail to
take
us
his
so we
mail,
could
sort it,
see if
and
it
leave
was
it at
his.
his door.
Wow.
He couldn't read.
Novogretzky, was that what is that, German? No, Novogretzky, what is it?
Novogretzky,
Russian?
probably Polish.
Yeah,
Polish,
I'd
yeah,
say
there,
Polish.
yeah.
But they were good to us.
Wow.
Wow. But he was
So
very
did you
wealthy,
ever
but
have
he
He was
couldn't
very
read.
wealthy.
No.
You know what?
We didn't have a baby there.
No.
Hey,
We'd have
if
to-
you could tell a story, I mean, I've told this story many times, and that is was it your 2nd anniversary story when when the 2nd anniversary when Dad was you had made a cake and you had a couple candles on it,
Yes.
but you had miscarried
was
for the
so
second
sad.
time. I
was so
know.
sad.
And you talked about adoption, and then you kind of said, but I don't mean to. I
No,
I
but
love
I-
the way you tell that story because then you talk about, well, maybe.
I sit
And then sure
down,
enough, the floodgates
Tammy
opened and you were
adopted
blessed
baby.
with.
And Dad said, well, let's just wait a while, And then we got pregnant with Beth.
Yeah.
And we had Bethy.
And you had to be,
then
you had to be
Todd,
in
But
bed.
I
With,
went to
Yeah.
bed.
you had to be in bed.
I went to bed.
For 9 months, she stayed.
Yeah,
there.
it's about 7 months.
Did the
I stayed in
doctor?
bed.
Did the doctor say
Before-
that, or
yes,
you wanted to?
Dr. Evans said, "You go to bed. You carry that baby. You will." And I did. I had Beth.
Do you have to
Dr.
stay in,
Evans.
now, for the other ones, little by little, you
Would've known
have to stay in
nine.
bed.
Yeah.
Now,
I
in a
went to the
nutshell,
bathroom. The bathroom was right there, so I would get up. But that was it.
in a nutshell, if you could recap with a few words on each of the 9, because you remember, I mean, each one had a story.
Yeah.
Like Beth, I mean, I know some of us, Dad never made it. He dropped you off, and all of a sudden, by the time, so let's take it
delivered
from
my-
Beth. So
I
let's
delivered
let's
my
go to
street
Dawn
dress.
next. How was Dawn? How was Dawn's
Oh,
delivery?
Donnie was so quick.
Okay.
It was so quick.
We had to
Okay.
go 20 miles to the hospital.
Oh,
Okay.
And then didn't you go to bed with Tim? You almost had him in the elevator.
Was Tim almost in the elevator? Was that Tim?
I don't know,
never
but
took- I don't
no, I
know.
went to bed. I-
Okay, then
And then Brian.
what about
Tim.
Tim's? Tell us about Tim's delivery. What do you remember? Well, no, you remember all of them.
Well,
I mean, you remember about Dawn's. She kind of skipped over it because she interrupted. But tell us about Dawn's delivery.
What did Don do?
Oh, I know. Well, see, not that you weren't eventful, but with Donnie, you had to go to the 4th floor, and the cleaning lady had closed the elevator and put a broom or something, and the elevator wasn't working.
Well, she put a broom in,
And we
in
kept,
the door,
you know,
so it
oh,
wouldn't,
my.
the elevator door wouldn't close.
Oh,
Close, so it was locked.
it was
open.
locked.
And then,
And then we got up to the 4th floor eventually, and boom, Donnie was born.
Wow.
and didn't the nurse gave you some medication?
Yes.
And she retired after that
Yes,
because
she
the
came in.
doctors gave her such a hard
She
time.
came
But
in.
she
Yes.
basically made it happen.
She came in my room and she said, "I am retiring." She said, "You are a sweet person and you got your baby, but I can't handle what the doctor." He was so angry at me for letting you, you know. And then one of them, I slipped in the bathroom floor, went down, and then boom, you were born quick.
Oh, geez.
Sue was at noon, and I was making baby clothes here for doll clothes. And I said, "Don, I think you called him at work." And I said, "I think we should go." Boom, she's born. So each one of you.
And then you flew to California.
David Shawn was
and then David
South
Shawn.
City.
And what about David's delivery? No memories?
You know, so I was scared.
David was an easy delivery.
Oh yes.
No, Mom, you skipped Mike's birth.
Yeah,
What about
really?
Mike?
Mike,
Mike
that
was-
never happened.
Remember the 3 wise men were out front.
No, what about Mike?
Yeah, Michael was born later at night, towards midnight. Yeah. And yeah,
The devil hour.
yeah.
Yeah.
But David,
Oh, put
Day
David.
666.
the obstetrician gynecologist lived on the corner where we were in South City.
Okay.
She lived on the corner. She happened to be on duty, and I came in and we had David.
On first,
Mercy,
on
congratulations.
Ferndale Avenue.
Mercy, congratulations, you have a little girl.
Ferndale
And,
Avenue.
and she was, and he was the prettiest baby.
Uh-uh.
ever.
Oh my, Sally
Okay.
Bastias. Remember the Bastias?
Yeah.
Remember them? Bastias.
Hey,
Remember?
Mom.
So then you moved to the East Bay, and then
That was it
who was
then.
the next one born in the East Bay with Dr. Mooseman?
Beth, Don, Tim, Mike, Sue, Dave, Brian.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Okay, and tell us about his delivery.
Skipping
Brian.
him, huh?
Isn't
They
that-
remember nothing.
Now, isn't that where he?
That was when Dr.
he was
Mooseman
in the car.
he told you, and he
said-
he
said,
came
"I'm
and he
following
took
in the
a
car
nap.
because you're going to have that baby sooner than we think.
Yeah.
I'm going to drive. You get there right away. So there he was born.
And he came and he took a nap.
He was
He was
reading a
sleeping in the
magazine.
room. Yeah.
Yep.
Dr. Mooseman was
Yep.
taking a nap?
And but he wanted to be there, and he was taking it,
Whoa.
reading.
He knew how fast
And we
he
walked
delivered.
around. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. You're
Bam.
And then little Mary,
Okay.
little Colleen.
What about Mary? What do you
Well, certain
remember
things
about
that-
Mary's
certain
delivery?
things you don't bring up. You know what I mean?
Oh, the
Oh,
in
we're
betweens.
family. It's okay.
Well, no, we
I mean,
lost a
with
few
him,
in
you know, him and
between.
Jean before. They said we got to get her out right now, because
But you didn't have a
placenta previa.
C-section.
No, placenta previa they called it. Let's get her out right now, right now.
That was with Mary.
That was Mary, and then little Colleen.
Was she the easiest of the 9?
Yeah.
None were easy for me.
Oh, yeah.
So
Who
you
might have
had-
been the
You had
easiest?
2 miscarriages before Beth? And then
And I
didn't
had
you
one
have
be-
another one?
Then I had
somewhere?
one between David and Brian.
Yeah, I remember.
I
that.
thought between Sue and me.
No, it
No.
was between you and Brian.
Oh, okay.
The little boy. They already knew. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. It was very small, about that long. The little arm's length. That's how soon they are developed.
Was that going to be a
Had a little
girl or a
stub.
boy? Do you remember? I don't remember now.
I think you said a little boy just then.
They could tell a little.
But they
Just,
kept it. They've got to keep it because the state has to see it.
So you
I
actually
was
went
going to
into
the
labor.
bathroom. It just came out.
Oh.
It was meant to be.
That's tough.
You know, you're really, really lucky that you had 9
Yeah.
healthy
Very,
children.
very, very healthy.
Mentally sound, healthy. babies, yeah.
Somewhat.
Hey, Mom, but I think the best story is your boss that you worked for at U.S. Printing.
Gus Juvie.
Yeah, you remember? You said he's a big German guy, big hair, and every time you got pregnant, you quit. And then, remember that?
You don't
And
hire
he
you back?
told his girlfriend, Iva Lounsbury, I want one just like that. And he was married. Even
He was
back
a
then.
dog.
Even
He was a
was
dog.
married,
You said he
but he
wanted
had a
one, what?
girlfriend?
He
Baby?
wanted
A baby?
a baby
Oh,
or
He
a
had a
genie.
girlfriend.
But
Even
what
back
did he
then.
want just like that? A baby?
Yeah,
No,
the
he
great
was
thing, the
teasing.
great thing
He
about
wanted
him
mom?
is
Yeah.
He was a good man, though.
You-
I mean,
every time he hired you back, because you
Yep.
miscarried, he hired you
Yep.
back, and then the last time he said, instead of being mad, nowadays he'd be mad, you know, like, but he said, Jeannie, I hope you have many more.
yeah.
he
You had
had
8 more.
he had a look on his face 99% of the time like he's going to eat you. but
Just
with
to
her, he is just. But were you his secretary or it was Louis? I was Ivan.
No, he was plant superintendent.
Yeah, I know, but he had a secretary.
But he always came Iva Lambs,
yeah.
But those are good
But
days.
he
He had a
He was
girlfriend
nice.
at work, a wife
He
at
did.
home, and a girlfriend at work.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did.
Boy, what a tie.
I know.
But the fact that he
really-
wished you well, you know, he
She
could
was
have
very,
said,
very sick.
oh, just go on your way, but he hired you back twice,
Twice.
Yeah.
and then when you quit the third time, I hope you have many more.
That's right. He hired
That's
me
pretty
back
cool.
twice.
Let's do that.
Then you
Then
didn't go back to work then. You stayed
No,
at home with the
no.
kids.
Oh God, I know.
Well, she
All those-
couldn't. She was constantly pregnant.
But
I know, and raising kids.
But I can
Boy, oh, boy.
remember though, it was so sad. I made him his birthday cake, and a candle, and I.
Oh, and it was in it for his girlfriend?
I just no.
No, you're talking about
before
the
I
dad.
She lost
Oh,
the
the
baby.
second one.
Was it your
I-
second
I think it
anniversary?
was
You made
3
an
times in
anniversary
1
cake?
year. I mean, wait, 1, 2, 3, yeah. But I had then I got pregnant. With
Oh, so you miscarried 3 times before Beth.
No, twice before.
twice, and then between
It
them.
was your second
twice.
anniversary, and you had made an anniversary cake for Dad, and you lit the candles when you heard his car pull up. By the time he climbed those stairs, the candles started dripping a little bit.
Do you know what they did in the old days, though? Your mom was. They did a test. They called it the rabbit test to see if you were pregnant. They didn't have this thing that you look at and you say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm pregnant." They took your urine and then they called it the rabbit test, and it showed up something. You're pregnant or not? That was how many years ago?
Yeah.
Because she's 65, Bethy.
Yeah.
Wait, is that like a real rabbit?
No, it's yes. I think it was urine.
Do they call it just because it's a rapid,
Really?
rapid
I don't know
test,
what it
kinda
was,
like
Bernie,
rapid?
but that's how they tested if you were pregnant from maybe your urine. They called it the rabbit test
Interesting.
because we never had a little thing, pretty.
Blue or green or yellow or
A plus or a minus or something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
yeah.
And
So who was your easiest delivery?
I'll take that.
Who was it?
Sounded it was Colleen, from what you said.
Well, the quickest, Dawn was quick. That was in the office.
that was very
or something.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that had to be easy but nerve wracking.
Yeah. Donnie just.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Honey. Yeah, Donnie. Yeah, very.
Yeah,
good.
well,
bless you.
for Donnie now.
Yeah, we haven't heard who was the easiest
We had to
yet, have
drive
we?
all the way to Aurora.
Yeah, we
for
had to
Donnie.
drive
Slide
20.
It was getting old by the
30
time I said it.
And all the time he was
Traffic.
Well, Tim, I don't think you're sneezing yet. He was already saying it.
Oh.
I mean, I knew it.
What the heck?
Did you call me at work or how? And I had to come home from work, but I was just about 3 minutes from work.
Oh, you heard that? No.
I said, Don, we've got to get
Mom
going.
did.
We're not going to make it.
Hey, what about
Oh, another interesting thing.
Okay.
Now, this is interesting.
yes,
With Beth,
with Beth?
I had this real cute pink maternity dress. You know, in those days they had tops, they had smocks. And then, remember the out and then the thing, the opening in the front, as you got bigger, and then you had a little
They
strap
expand,
up,
yeah.
and then you can't, remember that? Well, you don't remember. No. Anyway, they were very cute. I had a lot of cute
Baseball
smocks.
I remember Tim.
I had gone to take an instruction to become Catholic. And Father Neville, oh, what a sweetheart. Was ordained a priest probably 4 months before I was taking instructions. And all of a sudden he went out to, I was kind of, I could feel my stomach getting harder. And then I'd flush, and it was soft again. A contraction. But my friend said, Jeannie, you're going to know when you have a baby. It's going to, well, I don't know. He went to get the car to take me home. And in the car, I thought, I don't know, I don't feel, Honest to goodness, we got home. Was it about 5 to 3?
You called me
At
at work.
about a little after 3, we were gone. Bethy was born at 4 something in Aurora, Illinois. And I called Father on the phone. I said, Father, we have a baby girl. He said, I said, Father, what would you have done if she was born in the rectory?
Like
He
an
said,
hour,
I
like
would
an
have
hour
gotten my
later.
housekeeper.
That's
We
amazing.
would have done it. That's bad. We would have gotten our housekeeper.
That's amazing. Your first baby.
How easy.
Yeah.
I know. It was, an
Yeah.
hour from when
Yeah.
your first signs.
Oh, I
baby
said, Don,
were-
I said, Don, you better come home from work.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, but I think it must be time, And
Hey, you know what? Since we're in this reminiscing mood, how about some of the baby face memories? What can we share about the baby face stories?
Uncle Lester.
Oh.
I never met him.
Right.
And I was only 10 when he died.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, you went
I
into
didn't know
the
you were
closet
so
and
young.
cried when you,
Yeah.
because your mom was crying, and
Grandma.
and
Grandma.
Grandma Gillis.
Grandma Gillis was living with us.
His mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, his mom. And I came home from playing ball out in the street with the guys. And I came in to get some lunch. And she was talking to a man. And I noticed she had her foot in the door, so it wouldn't open no further for him because he was kind of pushing.
Probably an FBI guy.
No,
newspaper.
he's
Oh.
a reporter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was wanting to interview Grandma, and
Yeah.
she was here and went home at the time because she'd always babysit us kids all day while my mother and dad both worked. And I saw her crying, and I saw her crying, and I didn't even know what happened
Yeah.
until he heard me. But
That was
the place-
unusual that both your parents worked, wasn't it? Like to have a
Well,
mom
grandma
that
babies,
worked?
yeah.
We had Grandma
Everybody
Gillis.
worked.
Even-
Money was
Yeah,
hard.
we were. Not, my dad probably was earning $50 a
hard.
week or something,
Yeah.
and
Didn't you say that they roughed up your dad though? When they were looking for baby face and stuff like that.
Tell
But
them
didn't
how
they-
your mother was carrying money in.
Oh, your
around her.
mom in her brassiere
Remember?
or
In the
something?
car?
oh yeah.
They were
Yeah. My mother had she had come out to California, her and my dad on a trip to see Aunt Lee and Uncle Will.
Okay.
He was in Seattle, and well, that's what they told us kids, because I know Aunt Amy came to take care of us. She is tough, and so on the way back, the police stopped Mother and Dad, and Salt Lake City, I think it was, or something, because they knew he had made connections. They used to follow even us kids, the FBI, trying to get a lead on
Babyface.
Babyface and what was the gang leader?
Dillinger.
Dillinger.
Yeah.
And so they stopped them in Utah, and they searched the car and everything. And they wanted to see what they thought he was transporting guns back to Chicago from.
Your
His
dad was.
father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They searched my dad all and my mother, but they didn't check. And in her bloomer, she had a lot of money stuffed all the way around. And that's the one place they didn't look.
And what was that? Where was that? Was that coming back to
That's
Aunt,
going back
Aunt
to the
Helen?
gang.
Or
Well, yeah, going back to
What was the money from though? Where'd she?
it's part of the Dillinger gang. They had units almost in half the states,
Oh.
or in a couple of them.
So they went and picked up the money somewhere?
Yeah, they picked it up.
Have you ever read the story? It's a Johnny Depp. He was Dillinger in the movie, remember?
I've never seen it.
And the chapter's about Uncle Lester.
So,
But he was a funny guy. I can remember that much when I was going
Uncle
9
Lester
years.
was funny.
Yeah. I always was glad to see him come over because things would be real cheerful, you know.
Yeah.
would he give you money?
No, I might have given my dad money when he needed it.
I've got to find a picture. He was good looking.
Well, didn't that happen at one of the bank
Small.
robberies? Something that said he was robbing the bank or something, and the one lady said, "Oh, he's so cute. He has such a baby face."
That's
And
it.
that's how he came up with baby face. And also, yeah.
I think he was robbing that bank right in St. Charles, wasn't he? Because that's where he picked up that name.
And then there was her name I think was Wanda. She was from Poland, and they wanted to get Dillinger, but they never could get him, the FBI. So they were going to deport her. So they said to her, it's in this book, if you will cooperate, and if you would just come out with Dillinger so that we know that's him. She said, well, I'll wear a red dress,
Oh, yeah.
and we're going to go to a theater. I'll take him to the theater. So they came
were
out
dating?
from the theater,
Yeah, I think they
and
were
she
in
had a
Chicago.
red dress, and that's how they got Dillinger.
Oh,
Did they
no.
kill him right then, or they just?
Yeah, they shot him in the back, if I remember right. From one of the
Oh,
pictures,
wow.
one of the pictures I saw, because they knew he was always armed, and as he walked out of the theater, they even knew it when he went in, but they didn't want to do any shooting in the theater. It was downtown theater, the Chicago theater, and so they followed him out until he got a little separated from the rest of the crowd coming out.
But the lady was in red.
Yeah, and she was wearing red.
She was wearing
Wow.
red.
And so they knew they had the right person, but when they went behind him, and he went for a gun right away. I guess if they could have got him down without him getting to the gun, he'd have lived probably.
Yeah.
But he was wanted for murder.
Hey, was that like
So
front,
did-
was that all front page news back then?
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
this
it was
there
headlines. I read the headlines and everything. I was coming back from playing baseball, and kids baseball, and I read about it at all the paper stands. I seen. I knew I had always heard of the names.
John Dillinger.
But I was one, but I didn't realize there were anyone I knew. And when I got home, the police were at, or not police, it was reporters were at the front door. I had to squeeze to get past them.
Poor
and then
grandma.
when I looked at Grandma, she had tears coming down her eyes. And they just wanted to get the story because it had happened that,
Oh, that's
Who was
right.
killed first, Dillinger or Babyface?
Babyface was second. Yeah, Dillinger, they killed him. From what I saw in just newsreels, and they shot him in the back,
Yeah.
They didn't give him a chance because he was like an escape artist or something.
Yeah.
So did
And-
Babyface's wife know that
Aunt Helen, yeah.
That was Aunt Helen.
And Helen,
she
what a
was-
sweet.
she knew who she married?
Oh, she was with him.
Yeah.
She was with him when he was killed.
I'm gonna find.
It was her and what was the gentleman who was Uncle Lester's
Yeah.
best friend? Because
John Chase.
John Chase and Aunt Helen were in the ditch along with Uncle Lester when he was shot.
And they took a blanket.
And-
They tried to wrap him up in that.
Yeah, and Aunt Helen ended up spending like 3 years in
Yes.
prison.
In prison.
And
Just because-
John
For
Chase
what, like an accessory?
for
or
accessory, yeah.
something?
John Chase spent about 10 or 15. He spent much longer time.
But you know
But-
why they made Aunt Helen so short? Because she had Darlene and Ronnie,
I
two
was gonna
children.
say, who took care of the kids?
Well, probably
Was
grandma and
the
that.
middle
You know,
of-
she was,
yeah, we took care of
but they
Ronnie
she had
and
two
Darlene.
children, Ronnie
Okay, now,
and
hey,
Helen.
Dad.
A couple of years. I
Dad,
I
question, and I think you told me this before. Your dad, being that he knew and this and that,
Yeah.
and not that he did any of the stuff, but they were gonna maybe do something with your pops, but because he had kids and stuff, they were.
And the judge, the judge is the one who saved him from at least a couple of years.
Your dad.
Yeah, because that's like aiding and abetting.
Oh, sure.
No,
and
criminal.
did.
even that was your mom's brother, so
Yeah.
that'd be like, that'd be like Sue going up to Mike and say, "Hey, Mike,
you know, would you carry this for me? And you do it because it's
That's right.
your sibling, it's your brother or sister. So I mean, your mom was as
Well,
precious as
according to
could
law,
be, but
my dad should have turned him in. You know, when he knew.
according to law.
Yeah, but that's.
So this is your
stretching
family,
it, yeah,
and
yeah.
It was hard times too. Depression, you
Yeah,
know. This,
yeah.
But
And the judge.
his wife, Aunt Helen, she was adorable. I'll get pictures. She was little. She was just adorable.
She's a tiny.
Was
You
he
and I
naughty?
met her
Was he
when
naughty
we were
when
back
he was
there in
young?
1970.
Yeah, I heard he had
7
spent
or 8,
time in
remember?
reform
And she
school.
at that family
Aunt
picnic.
Helen sat
And
in
I
front
didn't
of
know
him
who Aunt Helen was
when they were in school.
until we
That
were.
was
It was.
baby
It
faces.
was
He would
when
take
we were
her
leaving,
pigtail.
and that's when all of a
Give her
sudden,
the inkwell sometimes.
finally,
That was
everyone's
Uncle Esther.
went past the
They were little.
Aurora School for Boys,
And Helen liked to
and
tell
that's
us-
when
each
I
other.
finally
Helen
heard
used
the
to like to
story
tell a
about.
story.
But she
Because
was adorable.
babyface
Yeah,
all
we,
that.
if we
Man,
had known, we
but,
could have asked them so many more questions.
Oh, I would
know
have
it.
drilled her.
I
Yeah.
know
We
it.
could
No,
have
I
asked Aunt
know.
Helen so many. Well, also Uncle Ronnie. He had 2 kids, Ronnie and
Well, no. And
Uncle Lester
had 2
and
I
Aunt
kids.
had
Helen.
2 children.
2 children.
Yeah,
yeah.
Ronnie and Darlene.
But they're both gone now too, aren't they?
They're all gone.
And Ronnie
Oh, the
was
kids-
Ronnie
the
was
kids are
writing
gone
a
too?
book.
Yeah,
The
Ronnie
kids
died.
are, but they
No,
had kids.
they had
well,
and
you
Ronnie
knew-
was writing a book about his
Yeah,
dad.
Yes.
you knew Ronnie. 'Cause
He was writing a book
he was
about
out,
his
out here
dad.
to see us quite a few times.
Yeah.
I don't know why. How could we ever get hold of it?
Hey, you know what? I'd love to hear the story
Ever ended,
about the drive arounds when you would pick up you would take Aunt Helen, you would do a drive around, and then all of a sudden she'd get out of the car because she'd be getting in another car with her husband,
Yeah.
And
Babyface.
Helen was married to Babyface.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And-
They'd drop her off, and he'd be across the street, maybe in another car, even with a couple other criminals.
Oh,
because you were being followed.
But
They were trying
since
to
they
throw
were
off.
being
Yeah,
followed,
so
they would
right,
go together.
right on a real busy street, I know on Archer Avenue. We let her off, and she walked across the street, and I saw the car door open on
It was
the
on the
other
way.
car. It was Lester and a couple other.
See, she
That
loved
one.
him. She was her husband.
Yeah. Well, and those
Father her
days,
2 children.
they could get lost amongst cars. You know, all the cars had big swinging doors.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I remember it was about a block and a half. Oh, yeah, they picked up Ronnie that day. We were coming back from the show.
Ronnie is Babyface's son.
Son. And we had gone to the show, and we were coming home, walking home. And he stopped. It was a real busy Archer Avenue. It was a busy street. You know, streetcar line.
In
cars
Chicago.
going through it. And so they stopped and they honked the horn, and he saw them. So I went on home. I was only about a block and a half away from home, and he ran across the street to us. That was the last time I saw him.
Uncle Lester, yeah. I never met him.
So he wasn't around a lot when the kids were little.
Well, when he wasn't in jail and other things, he was.
Well, he started off like kind of petty things like stealing
Yeah.
hubcaps.
It's
He worked. He loved working on cars. He was
Yeah,
a
he
really
was-
good mechanic.
he was a
worked
good
on cars.
mechanic.
Didn't
He
he
started
steal?
by stealing hubcaps.
Didn't he
and-
steal a neighbor's car? That was why he was arrested the first time.
I'll get the
Was
book.
that it, Dad?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. That isn't. I don't remember. I know I heard a lot of stories about him because, like Cornell. Remember Cornell?
Cornell and
Yeah.
Peggy Brown.
Yeah, and all
Peggy
them,
and Cornell.
all
Yep.
of them were houses he'd hide out in. You know.
Right in the
Rochester.
thick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they knew a lot
So
more
who
about him
shot
than we
him?
did.
It was the FBI.
FBI.
Oh.
Yeah, because he had when it all came down, he had gotten in a shootout with a couple FBI guys, and he got them. So now it's like, okay, now
so
it's
now it's murder.
Now it's all yeah. He was doomed after that.
But
They
he
wanted
was-
him dead or alive. You know?
But he worked for a garage, and he did. He started with hubcaps, you know, this little.
Yeah.
And proud
But
of
he was in and out of
Oh, yeah.
boys.
Yeah,
Oh, we had
yeah,
a-
reform school.
We had
Yeah.
a home in St. Charles on the outskirts called the Illinois State Training School for Boys. That's where you would go if you were to steal something or do something now would be nothing. Then
Yeah.
you'd go there. And in Geneva, we had the Illinois State Training School for girls. If you got pregnant, if you were involved in a robbery, then you could go there. So that's where
Yeah,
Uncle
they
Lester
put
ended up
pregnancy
several
and
times
robbery
going
on the
to.
same,
Nothing, very,
So even
very
if-
small.
So
But it,
even if you just got pregnant, you had to go stay there.
you had, where would you go if you were
No.
by yourself? And they
Yeah.
said, you know, you maybe picked up something in the store, you know, then you would go there.
No, just being pregnant that would get.
No, not just be, but
Oh,
if
okay.
in the meantime you had no home, where would you go?
Or if your folks
Yeah, where
threw
would
you out
you
of the
go?
home, you know, say you come home and told your mother you were
You were
pregnant.
homeless, so they would
The
go
mother might
there.
get so mad she'd get you sent to the school.
I
for
remember
girls.
we went there, and remember that song, "The Old Rocking Chairs Got Me"? I can't sing it now because I'm hoarse.
Oh, you
But
could.
we brought the band with us, and we played for the girls, and I remember singing that song for them. And the girls, they all had their uniforms. They all looked the same kind of light blue dress, drab. But that's,
But they were serving sentences,
they were serving there. Yeah.
so they were
So
dressed.
kind of
all
like a
in.
juvenile hall.
Yes, exactly. But Uncle Lester went there several times in the book because he was just small little robbery thing, little.
I think first he went to Camp Sheridan or something like that. It was,
Didn't they have something in Joliet?
no,
Yeah.
some,
A little bigger.
yeah, just out of Jolly.
That must have been really hard for your grandparents.
Oh,
My grandmother.
grandma.
Well,
I
Grandma
mean, because
Gillis.
they love their son.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I mean, you know, of course for your mom too, because that was
Yeah,
her brother.
yeah.
And it's
Was
like,
it just the two of them?
No, there was Uncle Ed. There was how many kids was there? There was
Let's see, there was Aunt Amy, there was Mom Fitz, Uncle Lester,
Aunt Lee.
Aunt Lee, Aunt Amy, and Uncle Ed.
Ed. Uncle Ed was the oldest.
Who was the oldest?
I'm not sure.
Probably
I
Aunt
think,
Amy.
Oh, Aunt Amy might have been the oldest, but
was-
Uncle Ed was probably second or something.
Yeah.
He lived there just outside of Chicago.
Yeah, but I mean that had to be tough on them. And then now didn't their dad, Uncle Lester's dad, he died. He took his life, didn't he? Do you think it was?
I think
He worked for a tannery, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked.
He was
yeah.
a tannery.
That was your grandpa.
Oh,
My
but
grandpa, he was my
he had invented a patent.
That's it.
And somebody
and they stole it from him, and he committed
suicide.
His grandpa.
He was going to make a lot of money,
Brian, did
and
you
then
hear
somebody
that?
stole the patent.
What? I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you.
Oh no, I was. What was that? I was
His
distracted.
grandfather
Yes.
had a tannery, and he invented some kind of a system that would clean the leathers and that. And somebody stole it, committed suicide. That was
Who
Grandma
committed
That would be
Gillis.
grandma's. That'd be Uncle Lester's and
Yeah.
grandma's. That
Yeah.
was their father.
Yeah.
Their father committed suicide because someone stole
Well,
his,
he
record.
was going to become a
His
wealthy
patent.
man.
His
His patent.
Really?
Yeah.
God, that would be an interesting investigation.
Yes, that would be.
But that happened before I was even born. I
Yes.
think that happened in 22 or 23.
So you never even knew
I never
your mom
knew,
of having. You never had a grandpa. You didn't know of any grandpa.
No, I think my dad's.
And your grandpa, that would have been Aunt.
That's on my mother's side. That's a
Who was your
Gillis.
mom's mom? That was Aunt. That was Amy.
Grandma Gillis.
Grandma Gillis.
Grandma
What was her
Gillis
first name?
Mary, I think it was.
Mary
Oh, we only call her
Mary.
Grandma Gillis. So Mary Gillis.
Yeah.
Gillis.
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 Right.
And I think my
G.I.
grandpa was dead.
G.I.double-L.
before
Your
I was
grandpa
born.
before you were born, yeah. Okay. Wow, that's crazy. But the history, you know, it's like.
Every family's
that-
probably got some.
Hey, what is that term you say sometimes, Tim, about "say goodnight, Dick"?
Yeah.
That's kind of like, remember on the Ed Sullivan Show that you used to say "say goodnight, Dick."
Say goodnight,
Oh,
Dad.
it's like, yeah.
Is there any chance you might say that?
The two guys.
No, just yes.
No, the
say
two-
goodnight, Dick.
Say goodnight.
Could you say that, please?
Good night, dear.
No, say goodnight, Dick.
Say goodnight,
Well,
Dad.
So you got to drop your hand. Say goodnight, Dick.
You want me to say?
Say goodnight, Dick.
Oh, I see. We're ending. No, I was
Okay.
going to say something though.
No,
Wait.
he was